Hello, in this lesson we will be looking at a type of figurative language called personification. Okay, my favourite. This is Ira. Don't you on the screen, please? Why do we do this every time, Ira? Come on, let me clear it. Okay, we're looking at personification. Okay, yeah, this is my favorite type. I love personification. I love it when I read a story and I notice it. I love using it myself. And talking of those two things, that's what might be expected from you in an exam. Okay, so when you complete like a reading comprehension exam or the English paper, you might be asked about personification. But also, if your exam requires some creative writing, then it would be a good idea to also use it. Okay, so we're looking at both sides of personification today, identifying it and using it. Okay, so let's talk about it. But before we do that, we need to remind ourselves of the types of figurative language. So let me go to my list. All right, Scarlett. What does I in eye shampoo stand for?
I in I shampoo stands for idiom.
What did you call me? I'm only joking, Scarlett.
Idiom.
Perfect. Idiom. Fantastic. Very, very good. Well done, Scarlett. Annabelle, what about the S in eye shampoo?
And S stands the S in eye shampoo stands for simile, and a simile is when you compare two thing two objects in a sentence using like or as.
Awesome. It is. Well done. Don't worry too much about defining them, guys. It's amazing that you know that, Annabelle. But for now, let's just list them. But we'll talk about them all as the weeks go on. Yes, you're correct. Simile is S. Okay. Oops. Okay. Oops. No. I've got out of control. I've just shown you two. Okay. H is for hyperbole. A is for alliteration. Sorry, guys. Let's go to Jacob. Jacob, what does M stand for?
Metaphor.
Good. It does indeed. Let's have a look just to make sure Jacob's correct. Yes, he is. Ava, what does the P stand for?
Personification.
Perfect. And the one that we're doing today, personification, my favourite one. That's why I gave it the bounce. Did you see that? Look at that bounce. One more time if you missed it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, and then we'll go to Alexa. What does the O stand for?
Onomatopoeia.
Let's take a look. Amazing. Perfect. Thank you. And then finally, we're going to go to Himank. What does the final O stand for?
I was gonna say onomatopoeia, but
There's another one. Do you know what the other ones? Do you know what the other type of figurative language that begins with O is, Himank?
no.
No problem. Let's go to Thomas.
Oxymoron.
Brilliant. Oxymoron. There we go, guys. So those are our types of figurative language, ones that we need to remember so that we can identify them in text and we can use them in our writing. And as already discussed today, we're going to be talking about personification. My favorite. I love talking about personification. I think it's probably the most, in my opinion, the most creative type of figurative language. Okay? So, what is personification? Below are some examples of personification. What do you notice? So what I'm going to do is just read these sentences to you. Then I'm going to ask what you notice, okay? So the first sentence says, the trees danced along to the beat of the storm. Rows of diamonds stared back at the lady looking for the perfect ring. The floorboards moaned beneath his feet. Ragnar, did you notice anything about those three sentences?
They all are like thoughts that are mode only stuff that can humans can do.
Yeah, very good, Ragnar. Yeah, those verbs, dance, stared, and moaned, are are verbs that we'd associate with humans, aren't they? But what we're doing in these sentences is we are lending our verbs, our human verbs, to things that aren't humans. Okay, so for example, the trees are dancing, and the diamonds are staring, and the floorboards are moaning. Of course, these things don't literally happen, they figuratively happen, yeah? So we use it, we're going to talk more about this in a minute, but we use it to be a bit creative, okay? We know that the trees aren't actually dancing, but we're going to talk about why we do that right now, okay? So yeah, a really quick reminder, if you missed Ragnar's explanation, all of these sentences are using verbs, danced, stared, and moaned, that we associate with humans, okay? But we're making non-humans behave like humans. That's personification. And if you do forget what personification is, take a look at the first part of the word, person, people, humans, yeah? So it will help you to remember what personification means if you do forget. Okay, so personification is a type of figurative language in which the writer gives human qualities to non-humans. In other words, we make things that are not human, like Annabelle, behave like a human. Sorry, Annabelle.
What was that for?
Alright, so yeah, we make things that are not human behave like human, okay? Behave like humans. But why do we do it? What's the point? Well, there are two reasons. I suppose there are probably more than two reasons, but these are the main reasons, right? Firstly, vivid. Does anyone know what vivid means? Let me go to, who's after Ragnar? Let me go to Era. Era, what does vivid mean?
It says it on the screen, but can I just define it my own?
Of course, I prefer that.
I think vivid means it says a vivid color, so it means like it's a clear, vibrant color.
Yeah, perfect, clear, vibrant. And I love the fact that you wanted to put it into your own words. Yeah, vivid means striking, clear, colourful. Okay? The way I like to remember vivid is if you have a vivid dream, right, you remember it very well because it was clear, it was distinct, it might have been colourful. If your dream was not vivid, in other words, if it was vague, it might not be as clear. You might not remember much of it. So I always kind of associate the word vivid with dreams because it really helps me to remember what it means. Okay, so we'll talk about that more in a second. What about this one? Relatable and emotionally engaging. We're talking about some really advanced language now, guys. We're almost sort of going into secondary school territory. What does relatable and emotionally engaging mean? You're brave if you give this one a go. Arianoki, are you feeling brave?
We think so. So we think that maybe emotionally engageable could mean sort of like giving kind of like feelings like actions about like nouns sort of like feelings about association thing. Association
Yeah,
thing.
I know exactly what you're saying. Let's break it down. So what are emotions? Feelings, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
And do you know what engaging means? That's a tricky word.
Yeah, like talking. If there's a conversation and you talk in the conversation, you're engaging in the conversation. Yeah, like picking up in the conversation or something.
Very good. You're like really attracted to that conversation. You can't leave that conversation, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, very well explained. Very, very clever, you two. So that's the other reason, right? Let's talk about them both really quickly. So vivid, clear, vibrant, colourful, and emotionally engaging and relatable is, as Arianoki said, it kind of makes us like really attached to something, right? In other words, we feel attached to personification. I'll explain why in a second, right? Take a look at this example at the bottom. It says, the lonely moon watched over the sleeping world, right? So firstly, and this is really advanced, guys. Okay, this is a discussion with no wrong answers. This is really subjective, which means it's more about opinions, right? Let me go to Scarlett. So Scarlett, why would you say that the lonely moon watched over the sleeping world is vivid? What makes it vivid?
because I think it's vivid because it's something we can like picture and it's something we see in like in the evenings, like the lonely moon. Like it makes sense because the moon is always like by itself,
Mm.
and and then the sleeping world, like most of the world is gonna be sleeping at the same time.
Yeah, really good. I like what you said. So look at it this way, guys. I'm going to do what I'm going to borrow what Scarlett said. Um, if we didn't say lonely, if we got rid of the personification, right? If we simply wrote the moon, we kind of lose a lot of meaning there. The moon, we know what a moon is, but it doesn't mean much to us, does it? The moon, it's not exciting, it's not vivid. But just by adding a bit of personification, the lonely moon, suddenly, like Scarlett said, we can picture it. Yeah, it's vivid, it's clear. We've got a moon all by itself, all alone in space. Yeah, that one word, that one piece of personification has given it so much more substance, so much more meaning. Okay, let me go to Annabelle for another question. Annabelle, why do you reckon that this sentence would engage with it emotionally? Why might it make us feel a bit emotional?
Because it says the lonely moon watched over the sleeping world.
Cool. What's
Lonely.
emotional about? Oh, sorry, Annabelle.
What's emotional is that the moon is being lonely and it's being watched over the sleeping world.
And how does it feel? How would we as humans feel if we heard that something was lonely?
Not very good because you're gonna be by yourself.
Yeah, we'd feel a little bit sad, wouldn't we? So the lonely moon watched over the sleeping world. It kind of evokes a bit of sadness. Yeah. So when we read that sentence, it kind of gives us a bit of a feeling inside. Okay. If I said the moon was in the sky, right? That's not creative, is it? That's not that great of a sentence. But by adding this personification, the lonely moon, the sleeping world, these are emotions, these are feelings, these are attributes that we give to humans, and we know them very well. Yeah, we know what it is to be lonely. We know what it is to be asleep. And when we add them to things like the moon and the world, the whole sentence becomes emotional, it becomes vivid. So personification is a really, really useful, creative, engaging type of figurative language. And for any of you that are doing creative writing, it will be noticed. So if you use personification in your creative writing, it will be noticed, okay? Because it's a really strong type of figurative language. Okay, so today we are going to create and identify personification. We know the difference between the two. Creating it is writing our own sentences, and identifying it is seeing if we can spot personification within someone else's writing, right? So, take a look at the picture on the screen. On the left, I've written a sentence which isn't that great. It lacks creativity. It says, the tiny seedling was alive. Okay? I mean, it's not the worst sentence in the world, but it certainly does have room for improvement, doesn't it? So if we think about how we can improve this using personification, let me show you what I came up with, and then you're going to do the same with a new picture, okay? Look at the differences between these two sentences, right? So, the tiny seedling was alive is one way of writing about this picture, but another way is the tiny seedling gasped for air and stretched its arms, seeking the warm embrace of the sun. I pretty much said the same thing here and here. I just mentioned that there was a growing seedling in both sentences, but one is rich with vocabulary, one is vivid, one is emotional, one is engaging, and the other, well, is very forgettable. Yeah? If I read this sentence in a story, I'd soon forget it. But if I read this sentence in a story, it's a sort of sentence I enjoy reading. I read every day and have done for since I was about your age, right? And this is the sort of sentence that if I read it, I'd read it again and I'd read it again and I'd kind of be really engaged by it. Because like I said, it's very, very noticeable, okay? Let me go to Jacob. Jacob, what is the personification, sorry, is the second sentence, the one on the right, using personification?
So we see that the tiny seedling gasped for air. So I think there's more than one, but Can I name all of them?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the first one is gasped because a human like gasps for air.
Mm-hmm.
Like a plant makes it look like it's a human, and so the sign between gasp for air and stretched its arms. And we know that a plant can actually stretch its arms whenever it wants, but a human can. So that's personification, seeking the warm embrace from the sun. I don't know if this is I think seeking is one because like a human can see and a plant can't really like see.
No, you're right. Do you know what? I tell you what, you're correct. You are correct to question that because sometimes I myself I think is that personification. The best way to look at it is thinking about intent. In other words, is that plant actively looking for the sun? And it's not. It's instinctive, isn't it? It does it automatically. It's not actively looking for the sun. So you're right. It is personification. But is there another one in there, Jacob?
Um, Tiny seedling gossip.
This is the next one's a tricky one.
I think that on the last part, I think I don't embrace.
Good. Do you know what embrace means?
No, that was hard.
It is a very tricky one, but that's why we do these lessons so we can talk about unfamiliar words. Yeah, well done, Jacob. You found all different types of. Look how many types of personification there are in that sentence, right? It'd be easy to read that sentence and think at first glance that there isn't much to it, but the writer of this sentence has clearly put a lot of thought into it because we've got gasped, stretched, arms, seeking, embrace. Okay, so embrace, where it says seeking the warm embrace of the sun, embrace means to to grab hold of and comfort and welcome, right? The sun's obviously not doing that with intent. It's not actively looking to give the little seedling a hug, is it? Okay, but by saying it, as we've said already, what we're doing is we're making it creative. We're making it behave like humans because when we do that, it becomes emotionally engaging. It becomes vivid, and I think you'd all agree that if you look at both sentences, this on the right is clearly more vivid, clearly more striking, clearly more memorable. Okay? Right, your turn. I'm going to show you a new picture. I'm going to read a sentence that lacks creativity, and then what I'd like you to do is write a sentence about it, which includes personification. Okay? So this is going to be tough because we've got a pizza on the screen, and it's going to seem quite bizarre making the pizza behave like a human being, but I know you can do it. So I wrote the pizza was sweating. In itself, this is personification, okay? It's not the greatest sentence, but it does include personification. However, I think that this is quite a poor sentence. I'm really not a fan of the word sweating. Ava, what are your thoughts on the sentence? Do you like it? And if you don't like it, what do you not like about it?
I don't think it's very good because you can't really form a picture in your head if it just says the pizza was sweating.
Yeah, there's not much to it. And you're right. And also, Ava, what do you think would be a bit inappropriate about the word sweating?
Well, you're normally really wet when you're sweating.
And what does that make you think of the pizza?
Like it's soggy and not very nice.
Perfect. Well done, Ava. Yeah, it's not a good choice of personification, guys. If I said the pizza was sweating, I'm kind of put off. I suddenly don't want to eat pizza. Yeah, I'm thinking of sweat, right? Which isn't that pleasant, especially when it forms the toppings of your pizza. Yeah. So we want to be quite deliberate and mindful and appropriate with our word choices. We're not just trying to use words simply because it personifies a sentence. We want to be really deliberate. We want to really think about the words that we use. Okay. So, do you reckon in the next 1 minute you can write a sentence about this picture? There's some really good sentences here, guys. Fantastic. Very good. I wish I could read all of these. Okay, 15 seconds. Okay. All right, well done, guys. I honestly, I just can't choose which one to read. I don't know what to do because I don't want to upset anyone because they're all so wonderful. I'm going to go to Ava's. I liked Ava's because I think it had the most uses of personification. Okay, the pizza was boiling, begging, good, for some fresh air while being locked up in the oven, which felt like a prison with no escape. Yeah, very good. And I also love the fact that you've incorporated a simile into your sentence as well. Really, really good. All right, well done, guys. Well done for all your sentences. Sorry that I can't read them all out, but just sort of thinking about Ava's a little bit more. Uh, if you can, if you can write a sentence in creative writing, whether it be an exam or a story, and you think you can incorporate more than one type of figurative language, it suddenly becomes a genius sentence. Yeah, and that's the standard, isn't it, that we would like to achieve. Well done, guys. Fantastic. Let's do another one. So our next picture. Oh wait, sorry. Let me show you my one. The pizza puffed out its crust, showing off its colourful toppings like shiny medals. So we've got the pizza puffing out its crust and showing off its colourful toppings. And then I've also put a simile at the end as well, like shiny medals. I actually think yours might be better than mine. Well done, guys. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. So we've got another sentence, another picture, sorry. And our sentence for the picture isn't brilliant. Yes, it's personification, but it's kind of using personification perhaps in the most lazy way possible. I'm simply writing one verb and that's it, I'm done with it. And that's not really what we want to do with figurative language, okay? When we use figurative language, we want to be really descriptive. Otherwise, there's really no point. So, could you please, in the next 1 minute, write a sentence about this picture using personification? Please don't do the floating emojis, guys, okay? Because it does distract people. Okay, 15 seconds. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, and some more good examples there, guys. Very, very good. It can be a bit tricky, can't it? Because we never picture, we never imagine a fan to be living, do we? So it is a bit of a challenge at first. But honestly, the more we practice it, and of course, the more we read, because there's always personification in our favourite books, the easier it becomes. Okay. All right. Here's my one. The tower fan whispered cool air across the room, as if trying to calm the restless heat. I've got a question for you. This is a little bit tough, but I'm going to ask it. Now, not everyone will be able to answer this question. Only those that attend the Sunday vocabulary lessons will be able to answer this question. What word could I use to replace the word calm beginning with A? Who thinks they might know? Shall I go back around the list? Scarlett, do you know which word I could use?
I don't know a word beginning with A, but I do know that we could try replace it with placid.
As if trying to placid the restless heat? Okay, I see what you're saying. There's a word beginning with A I'm looking for in particular because we did it on Sunday. Annabelle, do you remember what the word was?
Yes, it's appease, because appease means to calm someone down, to stop them being angry or upset.
Very, very good. Well remembered. Appease. Yeah. Whenever we can use good language, we'll take that opportunity. Yeah. So the tower fan whispered cool air across the room as if trying to appease, calm down the restless heat. That might have been a better word for me to have used. All right. Amazing. Well done, guys. So we have demonstrated that we are amazing at creating sentences using personification. But now we need to demonstrate that we're amazing at finding personification. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a text to you, and then I'm going to go through the list and see if we can identify any personification within the text that I'm about to read. Okay? So this text is called The Silent Visitor. Okay. One evening, just as the sun was beginning to disappear behind the hills, Maya noticed something unusual in the sky. At first, she thought it was just a star, but stars did not move slowly across the sky like that. The object glided silently above the town, its silver surface catching the last light of the evening. It seemed to hover for a moment, as if it were watching the world below. Maya rubbed her eyes and looked again. The sky stretched lazily across the horizon, glowing with soft orange and purple colours. Suddenly, the strange object flickered slightly. Its lights blinked in the distance, almost like eyes trying to peek through the darkness. The wind whispered through the trees, and the branches swayed gently, as if they were trying to point towards the mysterious shape. Maya felt a shiver of excitement run down her spine. Then, just as quickly as it had appeared, the object darted away and disappeared into the clouds. The clouds closed together quietly, as though they were keeping the sky's secret safe. Maya stared upward for a long moment. Had she really seen something, or had the sky simply played a trick on her? Okay, that's our text. So, let's go through our list. Jacob, did you spot any figurative language in this text?
I saw a lot of figurative language.
Can you give me one?
I saw the one we're talking about today, personification. A lot
Sorry,
of
did I say figurative language? I'm so sorry. I meant any personification.
So I saw on the third line it says the object glided silently. So glided is one.
Okay. Would you say glided is reserved only for humans?
Wait, I think no. Oh, the last line I saw some that played a trick on her. Because the sky could actually play a trick on you.
Played a trick on her. Had she really seen something, or had the sky simply, the sky simply played a trick on her? Yeah, we're bringing the sky to life. By the way, I wasn't saying you were wrong, Jacob. I just wanted a little chat about it. So, interesting. Some verbs are really vague. Sometimes when we get to a verb like glided, we have to think, is it exclusively a human verb? If it is, for example, like singing, then perhaps we could call it personification. But if glide it means something to move smoothly, then do things do that naturally anyway? It's a tricky one, that one, isn't it? So it's not the most obvious type of personification, but you might argue that it is. However, when we're looking for personification, it's more in your face, isn't it? It's more sort of deliberate and very like Jacob noticed, the sky playing the trick clearly isn't meant to be taken literally. All right, well done, Jacob. Let's go to Ava.
The sky stretched lazily across the horizon.
Perfect. Which verb in that sentence would you say is like the main personification verb?
Stretched.
Perfect. Well done, Ava. Yes, stretched. The sky stretched lazily across the horizon. We know that the sky doesn't stretch. But interestingly, had we said it was like a cat, the cat that stretched, we probably wouldn't be able to call that personification because cats actively and with intent do stretch. But because we're talking about a sky, which we know doesn't stretch, we do call it personification. Well noticed, Ava. Very good. Let's go to Alexa.
I can't believe I only just noticed this, but on the 8th line, it's basically a whole line of personification. First of all, it says, the wind whispered through the trees.
Awesome. Very, very good. Why is that personification, Alexa?
Because non-human things can't really whisper because they can't really speak. So humans only have the ability to whisper or speak or talk.
Yeah, great explanation. Well done. All right, Himan, can you see any?
I can see. I'm not sure about this. It's like the wind whispered through the trees, and branch swung gently as if they were trying to point toward the mysterious shape.
Awesome. Yeah, very good. We've got a lot of personification there. Well noticed, Himan. Yeah, the branches swayed gently. That seems really like very human, doesn't it? Even though branches do, of course, move from side to side and gently, and the fact that it's followed by the fact that the branches are trying to point to the mysterious shape kind of brings those branches to life, like a human moving its arms to point. So well done, Himunk. Well noticed. What about Kiva? Kiva, did you notice any? Oh, Kiva, I don't know if you're talking. I'll try you again just in case you didn't mean to mute yourself, but I couldn't hear you. It might be a microphone issue. No problem, Kiva. I'll go to someone else. George?
When it says you're trying to point towards the mysterious shape, it's personification.
Perfect. Yeah, kind of like what Himank said. Well done, George. Yeah, we've got a tree pointing towards this mysterious shape in the sky. We know the tree isn't actually doing that, but it adds to the story. It brings the tree to life, almost as if the tree is a human being. And like we said earlier, suddenly it becomes really relatable, doesn't it? All right. So, guys, what we're going to do now is, and there's a chance this could go quite chaotic, but let's give it a go. I'm going to enable you to annotate on the screen. If you can spot any more types of personification, could you draw could you underline where the personification is? Okay, so let me quickly enable your annotation.